Yeah, I got to turn the volume off.
I was jamming out to the music. I'm like, hey.
Oh, sorry. All right, cool. There we go. Yeah, that was I was like, hey, I can do that. That's awesome. And I can't watch myself there. I was trying to make sure we're all live and going to town there. Uh live and in person. Ooh, is somebody's watching us?
In living color.
Yes, exactly. So, well, let me see here. Oh, I am a viewer. I am a viewer of my own event, so that's pretty awesome.
Or are you hearing yourself an echo?
No, that's why I've turned it down. So I thought maybe
Okay.
give kind of get a minute there. You got your coffee already?
Yep.
Okay. What was on the cup there? No, what was the cup? Oh, there you go. You're the best.
Who the best?
You're the best.
You're the best.
Word. Oh, okay. Did you get to see that hype clip that I sent out? It was just a little clip. Remember, I
I
said
think I watched it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Did it give you the option to watch the whole video though?
I think so.
Oh, okay. That's something. That's cuckoo bananas. All right. So, since we're going to record this, we will rebroadcast it later on, put it on the channel so people can see. And so, Mr. DJ Astro Boy, and could you say it correctly for me? Evidently, I cannot say it correctly.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so everybody looked at it and they're like, DJ okay, the Astro, is pretty self-evident if you grew up in the '80s and you know Astro Boy, or you're like, but everybody was like Astro Boy or Astro, and it's like Astro Boy. Astro Boy, but I always put the Latino spin on it because that is the accent of the guy who gave it to me, so that's how I say it.
Gotcha. Like I said, I always wanted to say Astro Boy.
That DJ Astro Boy.
Bird. Okay, so that's awesome. Glad you're able to be here, and
hey,
we're going to ask some questions. But really and truly, I don't know if you wanted to wait a moment till you got your coffee there, so it's fine. So you are right now. You do two things. You are a DJ, and you also are an interpreter,
sign language interpreter by day, and DJ by every other night.
Exactly. So how many languages do you know?
So English, Spanish, and then sign language.
So you could
you could trilingual interpreting. Which offers a pretty cool thing because I have been able to do parties, English speaking communities, Spanish definitely, but then also my deaf communities, I have had the opportunity to serve them as a DJ. I've done several weddings for deaf couples. That, of course, not everybody is deaf, but hey, the deaf enjoy music just as much as everybody else. You just got to turn up the bass so they can feel that.
You get thumping. So, well, that's cool. Yeah, you don't think about a DJ being used for a for a deaf event, but hey,
how do they hear the music? They feel it.
Feel the bass
in the chest.
Cool. Hey, well, that's great. That's great. Now, so I want to get into some of this, and if you got a story as we go along, that's probably going to be a little bit more fun to tell the story, illustrate your point. But how did you get into being a DJ? Because you were talking about you were doing something else, but how did you get into DJ work?
So, man, okay, actually, I think I was a DJ before anything else because my family was the go-to family in our community for putting together parties. Like my mom was the one who put the parties together. My dad was always like the MC. And then when we came up, my brother and I were the ones that were like, okay, let's get a little system together. And we kind of piecemealed our own DJ system together with a cheap fader that I bought from um, Radio Shack.
Now, for those of you who
And
don't know, Radio
those of
Shack
you who
was
don't know,
Gen X moment.
way back in the day. Yeah, exactly. So a fader that we bought from Radio Shack, and then two separate huge CD changers. And so we just kind of did it from there.
What
And you
changers? What
really
kind
had
of
to listen.
changers? What kind of
So
changers?
see, yeah, CD changers are like so yeah. So we would just just kind of like listen. I was like, oh no, wait, no, hold on. And we didn't really we liked the idea of putting the music on, but we didn't have all the access to all of the equipment. We didn't have like you know um not like the equipment that you might see a little bit behind me right now.
Right, right.
It was nothing like that. We didn't have anything like that, but hey, we made it work. And so basically we were the DJs of our community.
Mhm.
That was since I was like 15 years old.
Wow.
So I've been DJing since that long.
Right.
And then oh, you said how did I get actually into professional DJing?
Oh yeah.
Um, that was it. Like I'm hello, my name is Michael. I'm a hoarder. So
Um,
yeah, I hoard digital files.
right,
I would get a hold of everybody's CD collections that I could find.
right,
And I was like, hey, do you mind if I borrow your CDs? And I would take those, rip those into the computer, convert them into MP3 file format, and I would just amass a collection. And then after that, that's when Napster came out, Livewire, um, Kazaa, all those different file sharing communities.
right,
I was downloading thousands of songs, thousands and thousands of songs. So I went from like having a collection of about 1,500 songs
right,
to 8,000 songs within the course of a year.
right.
And
Wow.
so I just had all this music and nothing to do with it until somebody was like, hey, I actually have a party coming up and you have all that music. Can you do something?
Right.
So again, got back into it, piecemealed my own system together, started DJing little by little, buying, the newer thing here, updated thing here. Now I have all my own stuff that's already paid for.
Yeah, I
So
got to
it's
see that
pretty cool.
yeah, I got to see your setup that one time. Pretty cool. I mean, it looks there's a certain simplicity to it, but then it's like a little complex. I can't do two things at one time, so
Pat
um, it makes it
your
difficult for
head,
me.
rub your tummy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, well, that's a pretty cool start, and usually I believe it's like an art form. So, with this next question, are you weddings? Are you do weddings as made, or do you play other events or clubs? I mean, what do you
I've
typically play in?
I've played everything. I haven't done really a club setting. Um, and I don't know if I'd really fit into that kind of a setting. You got to have a certain vibe about you.
Right.
I don't know if I have that vibe. I'm more your, friendly neighborhood DJ. I don't know if I'd be like the guy up in the club going like I don't know. But no, but I do weddings. I was gonna do weddings, funerals. No, I'm kidding. Weddings. I would do a funeral. That would be interesting.
If they're gonna pay
Weddings.
you, right?
Yeah, quinceañeras, graduations, everything. House parties. Yeah,
Right.
I've done everything.
Cool. So, since this is mostly going to be focused on wedding stuff, um, what do you kind of recommend for somebody to be conscious of whenever they're doing weddings or whenever they're approaching you about a wedding? Do you have like a questionnaire or something that you give them?
So usually, what I do is I'll set up beforehand. With a lot of time before the wedding, we'll set up an interview, and either I used to like to do them in person, but now because of COVID and just everybody's so busy, and now that we have access to it, sometimes we just do it over Zoom. And so I will meet with the couple, see what their interests are, kind of get a feel for who they are as a couple. And that kind of informs me as to what the vibe of the party is going to be like. I'm like, okay, am I going to be, or do they want something a little bit more subdued, a little bit more subtle? Or do they just want, oh man, I want to party like nobody's business? So I kind of get that feel
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And we go through, I'll make sure that I know, especially for weddings, you need to know all the special songs that you're going to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm also doing like the reception, you need to know like what is everybody walking into the recessional, what is the bride walking into, everything, all the way down to hey, sometimes they want a last song by themselves that
Mm-hmm.
that has been trending lately.
Right.
So like the private last song. So everything, make sure that I have um, all of those songs, but not just the songs. Um, I go over an itinerary. Sometimes the couple hasn't thought about that. I was like, oh,
Right.
um, what time should I allot for everything? So I kind of
Right.
help them along in that way, especially if they don't have a wedding planner themselves.
Right.
Since
Right.
I've done so many of these over the years,
Right.
I'll help them along.
Yeah. So you kind of like like say wedding planner would know all that stuff or ask those questions and stuff, but you're willing to guide them along, and so that's good.
Exactly.
Especially if people are trying to save some money and do it themselves. And have you ever gotten a situation where it's like you kind of do that interview, and it's not just an interview of you, but it's also you interviewing them, and you're finding out I'm not going to be able to provide them what they want.
You know what? Yes. Okay, so there was one situation. Normally, I provide different pricing according to the different types of parties. If it's just a house party, I can go a little bit cheaper because I'm not going to bring all of my lights. I'm not going to bring in all this stuff. It's just me, my rig, my speaker,
Hmm.
or my speakers, depending on how big of a house party it is.
Right.
As opposed to a wedding, that's more of a premium because there's a lot of setup. If you choose different packages as far as uplighting, fog machine, my party lights that go up, that's all a lot of setup. So I charge a different
Right.
premium for that.
Yeah.
And so one time I had a person come to me and like, hey, what would you charge for a party that is, no, we're just going to do a little party from 2 to 5. And I'm like, oh, okay, from 2 to 5. And what kind of party is it? Oh, no, it's just going to be a couple people. So it felt kind of a little, they were kind of
Okay.
putting up a little bit of a little bit of a farce there, a
Right.
little bit
Yeah.
of a front.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Maybe that's just me. I'll keep
Yeah.
going. And so a couple months down the line, I was like, hey, so I'd like to set up an interview um, just to see what kind of music you want to do. Let's go
Right.
over, a playlist of um, songs that you do want, songs
Right.
that you definitely don't want, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And through that interview process, they were trying to hide it, but it let it slip that oh, this is a wedding. I'm like,
Oh.
okay. And I was only charging this much
Yeah.
when I should have been charging this
Yeah.
much. So unfortunately, I had to let them go. I'm like, listen, you know, I unfortunately can't honor the price that I gave you because of that
Yeah.
reason. So but I tried to be as gracious as I could. I was like, listen, I do know some other DJs that are available that would love to help you.
Hmm.
So I gave them their numbers. Then I called the other DJs up and be like, listen, this person is calling. It's a wedding.
Right.
Just to let you know. So yeah, I don't mind. I'm not the most expensive DJ
Right. Right.
because I'm like, listen, I guess I don't know. Maybe I don't hold myself up to that kind of a standard. Whatever.
Right.
It's what it's my equipment, so I get to charge whatever I want.
Right.
That's my
It's your time and your experience.
exactly
And
my
yeah.
time, my
Yeah.
stuff.
For
I'm like,
sure.
listen, if I want to charge less, I can charge less or charge the premium.
Right.
And I've come across situations where couples were like, we're a little strapped for cash. I've made things work. You
Right.
can make it work. I
Right.
don't mind, but
But
be
don't
upfront
hide
with
it.
it.
Yeah, don't hide
Exactly.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what
most
I was wondering
definitely.
because sometimes just as an example, as I've put out there, because just because I know people are concerned about paying out good money for a service, and I put out there, if you want an audition, I can audition for you, and I got a quote. It says, "Oh yeah, do you do this?" And I put it very explicitly in the little ad. It's going to be in public place, kind of thing. And then I get this, "Hey, are you a photographer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you looking for somebody?" Like, "Yeah, me and my wife are want some photos of us playing together." I was like, well, is it going to be in a public place? Is it going to be?" And they're like, "Oh no, that's fine." And they're like, "Don't be a creep about it." I'm like, "Well, you're the one that's not reading the ad, okay?"
Right. Yeah.
And it's not because I'm being judgmental. It's because I'm not into that type of photography. I mean, there are
Yeah.
some that
Exactly.
will, and you're not going to get the benefit of the photography. Maybe they don't care, but um, I don't know. Because sometimes it's not just that what they want. Maybe I'm a little bit naive to that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so
There's been situations where I've had to turn down a party just because of what type of party it was. When I found out what type of party it was, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable, but I always make sure that I don't leave them empty-handed. I'll
right,
give them information on who they can contact, and I'll make sure that hey, I'll reach out to that DJ and be like, "Hey, are you available for this thing? And it's this type of party. Can you make this work?" And they're like, "Yeah."
yeah,
All right, let me set that up, and I'll kind of try to broker something. And I don't take a fee for that. That's just
yeah.
me helping somebody out.
Right. And yeah, and I think that's the case. I've watched a lot. I got a lot of YouTube idols, you might say, or mentors.
Yeah.
And lots of times you'll talk to people, lots of times you'll talk to people and you're like, I've come to realize there's no way in my life that I can take every picture that needs to be taken. And I want to be able to take pictures for people who will enjoy what I do. There's some people who only want black and white. There's some people that only want this blurry look, and I'm like, no, you're not going to get anything from me because I'm going to be struggling, and you're going to be able to see it in the photos. So it's you just realizing that other people can take pictures or be a DJ or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can support one another
Yeah.
with that because they're going to be able to, hey, bro, I can't do it this day or whatever. Can you cover this? And you'll be able to say, yeah. So what is the strangest event that you were asked to cover? Was there like a christening of a Star Wars action figure or something like that? Or
Strange. I don't know, but
unless you might not
definitely
think that's strange.
my funnest, the
Okay.
most fun that I've had was a wedding, but that it was Star Wars slash Disney themed, and I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna try this. No, 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 you don't understand.
Mhm.
So they came down to the Imperial March, like their recessional in the wedding was the Imperial March. I'm like, okay, good start,
Yeah.
really awesome. The guys actually, the couple actually hired a company, a local company, and I wish I could shout them out right now. I cannot remember their names,
Mhm.
but they came in full outfits. The Mandalorian. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Boba Fett. They couldn't do
Oh,
the Mandalorian because of copyright, but Boba Fett, a stormtrooper, Darth Vader, and they had a working R2D2 unit as the ring bearer. And
wow.
I was like,
That's cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was, and then they had photo opportunities later on with
Yeah.
the guys in costume and with R2D2, and I got a picture with R2D2
Cool.
doing like the classic pose, like reaching in, like Obi-Wan, you're
Help
our
me,
only hope.
help me,
Help me,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
that was pretty cool. I don't know if I've thankfully I've not had to do anything like really strange.
right.
Um, I
But
was.
oh, go ahead. So
Oh
you said
yeah,
you
no,
have
no,
a
go ahead.
fog machine, you have lights. I mean, do you have a bubble machine? Is there a difference between, or you could mix the two, a bubble with fog in it, and
Oh,
then
a bubble with fog. That
yeah,
would be awesome. No, I don't have a bubble machine yet. I'm still like piecing together stuff like different equipment,
Right.
adding to the repertoire, adding things that I can offer to the clients.
Gotcha.
Right now, I just recently acquired uplighting, so or brand new uplighting, which
Mhm.
is remote controlled. So that's pretty cool. So uplighting for the entire venue. I have my party lights, and I like to keep everything because it's just me. I don't have an assistant. I don't have anybody coming with me. So when I roll in, I like to keep everything just like on one cart.
Yeah.
And other DJs look at me, I'm like, and they're just like a gap. I'm like, how are you doing that? Or other people just look at my stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, everything that you just brought in fits on that cart.
Yeah.
When I unpack, and then it's just this massive
Like
kind
a
of like,
Mary
oh
Poppins
wow,
moment.
yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
kind of like that, So
Yeah.
I like to keep it all compact, but small but pack a big punch.
Yeah, because you got to as a DJ. I think you got to, or any as a service provider vendor, you have to be able to do the big venues, and if you get that
Mhm.
type of job, I'm sure you can rent the equipment that you need for that one
Oh yeah,
time, and you have big guys
I do
carry
have a
in.
story about that.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, so one time, and it actually goes back to my experience with the deaf community. And this was back in 2000, maybe single digits,
Mhm.
2008, 2009. I was asked by a friend of mine, I knew a friend of a friend, their
Mhm.
husband, who was deaf,
Oh,
organizing a deaf expo in Orlando.
oh,
And he's like, hey, I want you to be the DJ. And I was like, okay, I know how to be a DJ. You're doing an expo. I had to wrap my head around that. And
mhm.
then he's like, I want all the sound. He's I'm like, what do you mean all the sound? I want thousands and thousands of watts. I'm like, okay. Because he's like, he understood. He's like, I'm deaf. I need to
Feel it.
feel the music.
Mhm.
I need them to feel the music. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, let me make some calls. So I had to call and
You had a
actually
Back to the
rent.
Future moment, right?
Woo! Heck yeah. I turned up all the knobs. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Uh-huh.
But we ended up finding a guy who was a friend of another friend of a friend who he did that. He rented me equipment. These speaker stacks were twice as tall as I was.
Mm.
I think what we ended up with was somewhere around 200,000 watts
Oh my
of
goodness.
energy through the speakers.
Wow.
So the four massive stacks of bass plus another massive stacks for the
Mid
mid
mids.
speakers,
'Cause you don't need a tweeter,
and
so
then yeah, you don't need tweeters.
Uh-huh.
They don't need to hear that. No, no, no. It all carried through. The speakers were the sound system was just awesome and epic. And then the basically, I got set up with an entire stage off to the side by myself
There
with
you go.
all this equipment. My first time as a sound engineer.
There you go.
I was freaking out, but oh my
Wow.
gosh, it was an amazing experience. Um, and I actually got to meet a couple of deaf celebrities there, so that
Oh,
was pretty cool.
that
And
is neat.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. One thing that I thought would be kinda cool is if they could come up with now this is a divergence on the deaf culture, is that if you had, like, a wristband or something, because you can pulse with the music. I mean, there's lights, and you have it on your wrist
they have
or
the wristbands with the lights that they use in concerts. Dude, that
yeah,
would be an awesome
and
idea to
you know,
have something that would just like a haptic feedback
yes, and you could
for
feel it.
the beat. Yeah.
Well, at Universal Islands of Adventure, they have the shirts that are light up shirts, and some of them look like equalizers and stuff, and just that they have a
Yeah.
little bit. But anyway, there goes my idea. I'm gonna lose my money.
It's like,
So
no, wait, come back. Let me go. Oh,
that's
there it
fine. So
goes.
have you ever had a situation where the power went out, or I mean, usually if the power goes out, there's not much you can do, but
There's
just
not a
maybe
heck of a whole lot. Yeah.
somebody tripped over your
Unfortunately.
cord or something and ripped it out of the wall.
No, I've never had anything like that.
Okay, that's good.
I have had situations where I show up to a spot and they're like, okay, you're out here, out in the grass, and the people forgot that, oh, he needs power.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, where's the closest extension?
Right.
Oh, it's over there. Well, I only bought 75 feet and it was
Uh-huh.
150. It was 150 feet.
Right.
I set up, I left, found the nearest Home Depot, bought another couple of extension cords, came
There
back,
you
and set that up. But yeah, if God forbid the light flickers,
go. Uh-huh.
it resets the speakers. Now
Oh,
my speakers are less sensitive to that.
right.
Before, unfortunately, I had a setup where if the power went out for just a second, came back on,
Uh-huh.
and all of a sudden, no music,
Right.
and it was a high school event.
Oh
Those
yeah.
kids are relentless. They
Oh yeah.
started clapping in unison to
Uh-huh.
a beat, no music. And I'm just sitting there like, really, guys? Really?
Well, see, there's where you're like, let's get it audible. Come on.
Oh, it was awesome because you know what? It was a learning experience because I'm like, okay, even when I don't have music, there's something that can be done.
Hmm.
So now I'm like, if that ever happens again, I'll be clapping myself. I'll be like, no music. Let's go, guys. No,
Hey, I
no,
did
no
that on
music.
purpose. I did that on purpose, y'all.
No music. And then wait for it to come back on and come back on the beat,
There you go. There you
Just
go. Know
build
how
it
to
in. Make it
know.
look like you did that on purpose.
Oh, exactly. So, do you ever have like video screens or slideshows, or do people ever ask for that kind of thing?
I've done videos. I've edited videos because I'm kind of dabble in that on the
Uh,
side too. Um, Jack of all trades.
yeah.
So yeah, I dabble in videos. I don't have video screens myself, but I have rented those.
Hmm.
So yeah, rented like you do the monogram projection
Mm.
or projection of the video for the video screen, and when we do that, we can set it up so that the sound is coming through my sound system,
Mm.
so it sounds real nice, and the whole audience can actually enjoy
Instead of
that
it coming
pretty
from the
cool.
TV or something.
Instead of it coming, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to weddings in situations where I'm kind of like, oh,
You
where
got
all
the
they have is the little
MacBook up there.
laptop. They have the laptop, and you're trying to hear like, shh, we can't hear. And
Everybody
you're like,
shut up.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
And,
I can think I
and they
can
have
hear.
no sound. I'm like, no, 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 guys, you could have just set that computer up next to
Yeah.
the DJ, plugged it into his system, and hey, and built-in sound. But
Yeah. See, that's kind of the things that you don't think of as a first time wedding planner kind of person.
right,
And then
right,
it's
yes,
like ask your DJ questions because if you're going to hire this individual, they are your resource. And I know sometimes I think the biggest problem is that people are like, "Oh, well, they're going to charge me for that." I think myself and you might do the same thing is that if you're going to be charging what you think you're worth, and you have that right to negotiate down or value added service.
yes.
So, and sometimes there's a difference between, and you tell me if whether this is true or not. There's a difference between asking for a discount and me adding value to your money that you're already paying me. It kind of
Oh yeah,
puts me off when people say, "Hey, can you give me a discount?" Well, I haven't even told you how much I'm going to charge. Yeah, I'll give you a discount. I was going to charge you 300. I'm going to charge you 400 and give you $100 discount.
and then yeah, I've been in places. Honestly, when I first got started, one of the hardest things that is as a DJ or as any entrepreneur that is first getting started,
Right,
you need to learn to ask for your money.
right,
You have to realize that you are worth the service that you are providing, and that's the reason why you were hired. That's
mhm,
the reason why they called you up. That's the reason why you have a contract.
yeah,
Honor yourself by honoring that contract. So
right,
if they need to pay, then they need to pay.
right,
So um, I've been in situations and learned from it where I'm like, "Oh, you're a friend. You'll get me the money when you can."
yeah, hmm,
Listen, between friends, business is business.
yeah,
Money should be taken care of up front.
right,
Don't do that because it creates so much of a mess later on.
Yeah, that's why.
Take care of the money up front, and also, you know, like I said before, it's like you have to understand your own worth as a provider, as some a service that I'm providing.
Mhm.
So don't let other people try and haggle you down in price. If I'm actually one of the less expensive DJs out there.
Mhm.
If you ask me and you still think it's a less expensive, I'm like, that's fine. You can go to these other DJs. They're starting at least $1,200,
Right. You know, and
and
I
then you can come back to me and see what's up.
yeah, and I'm not going to jack up my price. Now, this is something I haven't put in a video yet, but I was going to. Is that really and truly my competition is not other professional photographers. My immediate competition is Uncle Joe with the camera, or with a boombox, or whatever the thing is. A boombox, Gen X moment there again. But
Yeah.
now a boombox was one of those things you put on your shoulder. Anyway, but so do you
What
find
are
that to be
D batteries?
they're there's that's what Teslas run on now, right? D batteries,
Basically.
rechargeable D batteries. Oh man, you could put one of those in a sock and beat the snot out of somebody.
That's what
But
I'm just thinking.
I mean, either a bag of pennies or a D battery, and
It's
you
an
could,
automatic theft deterrent.
yeah, bam, homie the clown. Um, homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't
But
play that.
do you do you find that's more of the issue? Because I know I had somebody contact me, and I told them, hey, for two photographers, all day event, both locations, I gave them a price, and they got back to me, and then the person was kind of an intermediary, and they said, well, they found somebody to do it, and I'm like, I'm sure it was a family member, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the other thing about photography, and I think you are in a harder case because um, people don't. I mean, once the music's in the air, it doesn't come back. You don't if you miss that payment or whatever. Whereas photography, I've still got the pictures. If you want the picture, I give you money.
True.
But no, it just if you are not charging what you think you're worth, and you get out there, you're going to give a sorry job because you're going to be hating the job. That's my thing.
Exactly. You need to I, as a DJ, had to learn to value my time and be appropriate with it.
Mm-hmm.
I started off charging like $150 for for 5 hour long parties
Good.
because that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought I was worth. Oh, I'm just starting out. I don't really know the business. Not thinking, and I had to have best friends and other DJs in the business. Like, dude, you're way better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't devalue yourself. And so I had to learn. I'm like, okay, all right. Basically, what you said of make sure that the amount of money that you're charging is going to make it worth your time so that you feel good and you're going to give your best
Yeah.
to that event
Right.
so that then word of mouth advertising is the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
15 people from that party are going to contact you because man, I remember that wedding, I remember that party. You were all up. And also sorry, sidetrack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll come back to something that just popped into my head and I need to bring it up. But people that remember you, that word of mouth advertising that's going to get out there. So maybe they don't hire you, but somebody asks, "Oh man, I need a DJ." Oh hey, I just heard a really good DJ like a week ago. Yeah,
DJ
yeah,
Astro
I have
Boy.
his information. DJ Astro Boy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look him up. He's on Facebook. He's on YouTube. He's on Instagram. And so I need to make sure that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give 110, 115, 120%
Yeah.
of my energy.
Right.
But then I need to walk away from that being like satisfied, thinking, okay, I got paid a good amount to do a good job, and I left them hobbling off the dance floor because
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
that's one of my that's what I say on the microphone is I'll get on and say it's like, listen, I make the old feel young and the young feel old. When you get off that dance floor, you're like either you're old and you're like, woo, you're having a good time, or you're young and you're walking off like, holy
Oh my
cow, that was a woo, woo. I was done.
yeah.
I want everybody to be walking off the dance floor like that. So
Yeah.
when I see people taking off their shoes
Right.
and having a great time and just partying, I'm like,
That's
job
it.
done.
Done did
So
it.
yeah,
Well, and two, I did read an article, and we can kind of divert off of price in a moment, but I read something is that people say, "Oh, it's so expensive to get married," and that's not true. And granted, sometimes I don't mind doing my art for free for a friend, and I consider it a gift. That's my choice.
yeah,
But a marriage is not that expensive, but a wedding is. And so it's what people choose to include.
right.
Now, am I going to try and nickel and dime somebody? No, because I'm thinking, okay, what is my day worth? And again, like you don't just show up and I mean, you're actually actively involved. Me, they're looking at, okay, you're just taking pictures and that's all you do. But what I got to get home and edit those photos, and that could
There's
take
a
that's
lot behind the scenes that they don't see exactly.
and so
Yeah,
I got to think about that as well. So
yeah,
just think about whenever you're hiring a photographer or a DJ or any vendor, and they are really low, you have to. And if they say, "Well, this is my first time," you can understand that. But if they're really low compared to others, and they don't kind of let you know that, then maybe you're not going to get the service that you want. So,
yeah, exactly. Like you were saying before about like what your who your competition is.
mhm,
If they want to hire Uncle Joe with the boombox to put on some music, that's fine. You're not gonna get the level of service that you would from me or another professional DJ that
mhm,
knows how to work the party.
right,
Because listen, in this day and age, everybody has iTunes, everybody has a computer. They can pull up a Pandora or a YouTube playlist and they can play that. And you know what? If that's all you can afford, then that's fine.
right,
Enjoy that and
right.
make it, accept it and make it your own.
Hmm.
But don't try and hire a DJ for the same price
Hmm.
and expect me to do everything that I do for this amount of money when I know that I'm worth this much more.
Right.
Because what I bring to the party, and
Literally.
each DJ, yeah, literally, what I bring to the party, I bring the party.
Yeah.
Like,
Word.
listen, good, good food and good music. That's the two main things when you have a party, any kind
Right.
of party. So like good music, that's like 50% of the party. Come on, people.
Exactly.
But so I know my strengths, okay, and I know my weaknesses. My weakness, I I'm not maybe not as energetic as I work with a partner, DJ Johnny, and he
Mhm.
is whew, he
Lit.
is energetic to the nth degree,
Yeah.
and he gets in the crowd and he pumps you up. He'll take the party and he'll make you eat it. Like take it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be at this party. You're gonna enjoy it.
You're gonna walk away happy.
And yeah, you're gonna walk away happy. I am not that energetic, but I do get out there. I get personal. I mingle with the crowd. I make sure that everybody's having a good time. I'll go around, go to each table, ask them if they have any songs that they want. I'll single out that couple that I haven't seen dancing. I was like, hey, I want to get you guys on the dance floor. I make it personal because
Right.
that's my strength.
Right.
I love people. I love interacting with people. So I just a wedding a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
I've I saw this couple and I'm like walked up and like I really want to get you guys on the dance floor. What song? What is the song? And they gave me a song. It's like I don't know if they're gonna
Mhm.
because they were afraid because their song was a country western
Uh-huh.
and it was a Latino party. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah.
I got this. I got this. And I got on the microphone. I'm like, listen, everybody, you guys want to give a special shout out to your partner, your friend, your loved one, whatever. Come and request a song, no problem. Right now on the dance floor, I want to invite out so and so and his wife. And listen, these people, I haven't seen them dance in a long time, and so we're gonna invite them out on the dance floor to this song. Bam,
Boom.
and played it.
Drop the verse.
And you know what? I got a couple of more people to come out and dance with them, and it was awesome. And the lady came up to me after they finished dancing. He's like, I haven't danced that song in 25
Wow,
years.
that is
Thank you
awesome.
so much. And so I'm like, I live for those small moments,
Yeah,
and the personal moments. So that's my strength and what I bring to the party.
right.
As well as like, I get out there and dance with the crowd. And if you don't know how to dance a particular dance, I will show you.
Yeah. See,
So
that's why I
and
like
if
songs that
I
have
can do it,
instructions.
and I'm a big guy. You see on the camera, I am a big guy. If I can do it, you can do it.
You can do it.
You can
No,
do it.
see, that's why I like that one song. I don't, one step to right, one step to left. I mean, I like that one because
Yeah.
it's got instructions. Usually on the electric slide, I get run over. It's usually some older lady, some older woman, somebody's grandma, and they just come on, boy, get out of the way. So I need to help.
You have
So
people like going 15 different directions, and I get
exactly.
out there and I'd be like, okay, okay, all right, guys, follow me, and I'll get that out there, and I will direct the traffic because sometimes you
Gotcha.
just need to.
Right. No, that's true. So, now that is a problem sometimes when you get uh now I had a jokester. Let me let you know this. I had a jokester and before the wedding I had some friends give me cards, which was nice. And I got this one card and I saw the card and I knew who it was and I'm like, "Oh, okay." You put it somewhere because you're not thinking. And later on I opened it up and it was a sympathy card. So it's like he's like sympathy on your
Oh,
wedding. Yeah. Oh, too bad for you. Uh, but he was married himself, so he was just being silly. He's just that kind of person.
yep,
So
sarcasm level 10.
yes, exceeds fatality. Um, so what do you do, or how do you work it out with a couple on not playing songs that are like maybe it's a second marriage and it's like the old couple's the husband's ex-wife favorite song and you're like, oh
Most
no,
definitely.
we're not playing it. So how do you prevent people requesting songs, or how do you deal with that?
Well, so it all goes back to the interview,
Okay.
making sure that I know the vibe of the couple beforehand, but also I'll go through a list of must-haves. I'm like, okay, if they don't, sometimes they give me, oh, we have a playlist, and they'll give me like 20 songs. I'm like, great. And I'll build my playlist off of that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, I see what they like. And one song will give me like 5, 6, 10 different songs in
Right.
my head. And I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
I'll play this. And that's no problem. I accept, I welcome that. Some
Right.
DJs don't. It depends on the DJ.
Right.
Um, but along with that, I will have a list of do not plays.
Right.
Some people have had it up to here with the chicken dance. So if they were to hear ba 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 ba, ah! So okay,
You're
so
not
no
getting the
chicken
payment.
dance,
You
fine.
can't get paid.
Yeah, exactly. I've had requests to not play songs in specific because they knew that their family members were going to come up and request the same song multiple times. So they told me once, and that's it. I'm like,
Uno más.
not a problem. Uno, uno y no más. That's it. One and no more. I've had people who are like, you know what? I'm just so fed up with the electric slide. I'm like,
Right.
okay. How do you feel about the other slides, other line dances?
The
I've had a
analog
party where they
slide.
didn't want any line dances at all, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
your funeral, but whatever.
So you have done funerals.
I have, yes, exactly. It all comes back.
Oh, exactly. So, all right. So, I really appreciate some of the things that you brought out, and you. So, just to kind of review a little bit of this before we go any further, it's always good to interview. Now, do you just do the one interview, or do you try to do a couple interviews if you can? Because I've heard some photographers they'll get that initial consultation, and then they possibly have some others. Um, is it because maybe later? Okay, I'll give you my list of songs later or something, or what?
So for me, it's usually the one interview is enough. If I don't get all the information, I will keep lines of communication open between myself, the couple, or myself and the wedding planner, or whoever needs to provide me the information. I've had that happen where it's like, okay, we don't have it right now, we'll get it to you. And so I will make sure and reach out to that person and be like, hey, so and so the bride, so and so the groom, they wanted me to reach out to you asking for such and such information. So, if they hand me the baton on that,
Right.
I will, do everything I can to not drop that baton and make sure that I get the information that's needed. So sometimes one in, like you said, one interview isn't enough. Sometimes you have
Right.
to go a little bit past that, but usually just the one interview, and I have enough information to go from there.
Do you typically try to talk to the couple at a time, or do you end up just talking to the one or the other, or do you prefer the two together?
I prefer the two together. I actually, for weddings, I don't think I've ever done where it was just one. But yeah, definitely speaking to the couples, it's funny because when it comes to music, sometimes you have a one of the couple that is just quiet
Mhm.
and withdrawn, and they don't know how to speak up about like their choices in music. It's weird. Maybe that extends to other facets of their relationship. That's not my
Yeah.
business. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, so I try to draw them out then so that they know, okay, I can trust this guy. And I want to make them feel safe. And I want to let them know that it's like, listen, I know that this is an important day for you. I'm going to take care of you.
Mhm. Exactly.
Okay, so I don't like, and sometimes they tell me, I was like, yeah, it's just, I'm not really a dancer. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Hey, how about we do a private dance, just the two of you at
There you
the
go.
end? So, and then all of a sudden their face changes. Or I've had situations where a couple was like, I just don't like how, when weddings go for some whatever reason,
Whatever. Yeah.
um, a particular aspect.
Right.
I don't like doing the dances first. I don't know how that's gonna feel. I'm like, okay, we don't have to.
Right.
And they just look at me like, what?
Yeah. It's your
Oh, you didn't
wedding.
know this was your wedding?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like you can
Exactly.
do it however you want. And I try to make myself as flexible as I can and make sure that that happens for them. And
Right.
as much as I can change to kind of match their personality and um, their vibe in the interview,
Right.
then I know I see them at in the wedding. They don't have to bother me because I already know everything that they wanted
Kind of know their
from
personality.
from A to Z. I kind of I know I have a feel for them, so they don't have to come up to me and remind me, hey, do this, do that. And a lot of couples have came up to me afterwards and said, it's like, listen, we appreciate it so much. You kind of
Yeah.
just took over there, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
that's what I do, and I just wanted to make sure that you were having the day that you deserve.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember whenever I got married, because he had done other weddings for people, that I knew, and because we were under 21, we decided that we didn't want to have any alcohol at the wedding, and it was actually our prerogative that you can have fun without that. And the funny thing is, he came by near the end and he says, "Hey, Dave, looks like somebody brought alcohol in. I didn't." And I was like, "Really?" He's
wow,
kind of watching out because
watch that for your best interest.
yeah,
Wow.
and so that, again, like you say, food and dance, it's like liquor and music that gives, a certain vibe. So
Yes.
the other thing I was going to ask you about, so that just because it goes to show he knew me, he took the time to know me. The other thing is, now you don't have to disclose your prices, but maybe in the general Orlando area, or what do you typically charge? Is it per hour, per day? Do you get a deposit? Yeah, how does that pricing thing go? Just so that somebody wants to know.
Yes. So what I do is usually between 85 to about 105 an hour. So
Mhm.
with a base price, and then I will add on different packages as far as uh, lighting and like the fog machines. Or if I have to rent, then that's extra. We negotiate after that. But
Right.
usually it's between 85 to 105 an hour. 105 being like for weddings and stuff
Right.
like that, because And again, you have to understand, and you, Dave, you know this perfectly well. There's a lot that goes on beforehand and after the fact that
Right.
you're not going to see.
Right.
It's like the duck treading water. You
Yeah.
see them very calm, but underneath they're like ah.
Yeah. They're killing it. Yeah.
So maybe you're only hiring me for a 7 hour event,
Right.
6 hour event, but it takes about 24 to 36 hours of preparation,
Right.
or altogether 24 to 36 hours altogether of work to make that special event
Right.
as as good as it can be. So you're not just paying me for those 7 hours, 6 hours.
Right.
You're paying me for everything, all the preparation, and then after the fact, if there's videos that need to be emailed, or playlist that is like, oh man, I really want that playlist, I'll put that together for you and send that, and I'll make sure that that's included in the pricing as well.
Right. And you, just as a business owner, I mean, I don't know how about your royalties for music and stuff like that. I don't know how that goes for DJs and stuff, but especially now, I know you came all the way out to where I live, and that's $50 just in gas round trip. You know,
Yeah,
you got whether it's insurance or the time you take to load up, and that's in addition to the
yeah.
4 to 7 hours that you are. So just making sure all that's covered, and that when you this is one of the questions I saw before, is that if it's 4 hours, does that include setup time? Or do you say, well, you got to rent me for 7 hours to get the 6 hours, or whatever?
I personally don't charge for setup. So if you charge, I kind of I build that into the price and travel time.
Right.
So if, let's say, I have a 7 hour wedding and we're starting at 4, I'm gonna get there somewhere around 2 o'clock
Right.
and make sure that I'm set up well before any of the guests show up.
Right.
Mostly because the reason why, I mean, some DJs can come and set up in an hour, half an
Right.
hour. I
But you
like to
got your
give it.
cart. You got your cart though.
Yeah, I have everything on my cart and I just wheel that in. Mostly because I'm a big guy and I don't want to sweat my outfit out. So,
Hey,
so
hey. Me
I
too.
like to take my time, set up, and then have some time to chill. Make sure that I have, if God forbid there's any information that is missing from my itinerary, the playlist, or anything like that, I have time to find who I need to find and let them know, hey, I still need this information. Make sure I can download the songs beforehand and then do my sound checks and all that stuff.
Exactly, because normally at that time, is people are all skitsy, they're all nerved up, and they're like crazy. And the people that you were talking to 2 days ago are not available at all. I mean, their emotions and stuff, that's
Oh
not the
yeah,
same person.
they're
So
completely
they're
different. Yeah.
cuckoo bananas. So let me ask you this one. Now, this is something I didn't think about so much as a photographer, but I heard it a lot, because when I was shooting before, I was young, and so I just kept going. I could have a Coke, Skittles, and a Snickers bar, and I'd be fine. So,
Yeah.
do you have that, or do you usually get part of the meal, or do you get a meal, or you just like, that's not nothing. I'll just take care of myself.
I don't know what it is. I guess maybe because I'm a big guy, everybody's like, "Hey, DJ, did you eat? Are you good? Did you eat?" And they're always like, "Oh, make sure you get some food."
Right.
So my thing is, it's like if I have some time, I'll make sure to get a plate, but I always take it to go. I don't eat when I'm playing, mostly because, listen, honestly, I don't want to have I have to have a potty break in the middle because in the middle of me DJing, I'd
Exactly.
rather just work on an empty stomach. Plus, you know, every single time, and it's part of my energy. I get butterflies
Yeah.
every single job. But the bigger the butterflies, the better that you better believe the better that
Yeah.
party is gonna be.
Because it's
Holy
excitement.
cow! Oh yeah, I learned to channel that energy over the years.
Right.
So all of that nervous energy that I get beforehand, I channel that into the party. But yeah, I don't eat during a show, especially because the reasons I said before. Plus, I don't want anything getting in my hands because that can actually affect the equipment. So because it's all touch sensitive. Yeah.
When you're scratching a record. The funny thing is, this is why, not just because we are at the same event, photographers and DJs, but this is the first of the contrast. Normally, a photographer, whereas a DJ is usually an extrovert, or even if they're an introvert, they're more extroverted than the regular. And where the a photographer is usually like, could you move over? Let me. Okay, all right, thank you. So you're kind of like fly on the wall kind of person. So we are actually by profession, we're a little bit opposite of one another. Um, but whenever the DJ's there, you actually make the pictures better because if you got Uncle Joe over there playing, chicken dance and stuff like that, people are gonna like it. But when you get somebody hopping, that's where you're gonna get those pictures. Now, not those ones that I got you moments. I hate those, but ones where people are smiling and laughing, and because
Exactly.
if they're at ease, so they're. Funny thing is, the better the DJ, the better the pictures, I believe. So
It goes hand in hand. All the different services. I try to work with any event that I've done. I try to work with the other event providers that are there. So the caterers, if they need anything, if they need me to announce the tables, hey, that's
yeah,
fine. I got you. Tell me the order you want them to come in. Give me the high sign when you want the next table. No problem. I got you. The bar, if it's an open bar, or I've had people from the bar be like, "Hey, just nobody's coming over here." Like, no problem, I got you. Hey, don't forget, uh, definitely an open bar over here. Make sure that you go over there, something like
yeah,
that. Not as much stammering,
right,
but
yeah,
yeah, encouraging people as long as or whatever the event venue, the coordinators there, if they need me to direct traffic, I direct traffic. Make sure that I get on the microphone and just be like, "Hey, I'm their voice."
right,
So whatever they need from me, no problem. As long as it's not while I'm working, while I'm actually
right.
mixing. Yeah, ask me, no problem. Hey, do you mind doing it? I got you.
Like after a song or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's cool. That's what we need to do because we are part of the party. I mean, the photographer, he's part of the party. He doesn't show up until after the party, though. That's the funny thing. He's there taking pictures, but you don't know him until after the fact.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because that's where he shines or she shines. Uh, but so, oh yeah, I did want to make sure. Did you say you usually take a deposit first or what?
Yeah, so what I usually do is I'll do like a $50 deposit just to save the date,
Yeah.
and then the balance I'll put a particular date in the contract. Usually it's like a week before, or if it's like short notice, I'll do just like at least 24 hours in advance. Then it's completely paid for.
Right.
Um, and I do that particularly because over the years, just experience. You don't want to have to show up to an event and be asking for money. Like, I've just learned. You know what? Get that out of the way first.
Yeah.
People are a lot more friendly. It was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me make sure that I pay you first. No problem. And then when you get there, you don't have to worry about that.
Mm.
Let's just have
Or hope that
set up,
afterwards.
have good music, and have a good time. Or hope that afterwards that they're not trying to, like, be
Yeah.
shady and kind of
Well,
avoid
so
you.
they may
Yeah,
think, well, hey, I'm sure I'm going to get some money at the wedding, and that'll be, like, and, you hate to put anybody in a position
yeah,
because
exactly. No,
even if you do an excellent job, finances can actually overshadow. It's like, hell yeah, yeah, and it's always going to be a little footnote in their story about their wedding. It's like, yeah, man, even if they feel bad about it, it's like, yeah, we should have paid the guy, 2 weeks, but we waited a month, and so it's, you don't want to be that kind of person or anything. So,
right? Yeah.
um, so that I appreciate your willingness to be with us here today.
Hey, it was my
DJ
pleasure. I
After
mean,
Work.
I love doing this.
Yeah. Maybe as we move along, I might get to call on you again if you're so inclined. And
Oh
so,
yeah, most definitely.
like I said, next week we're going to have a cupcake decorator, and she does awesome work. And I think it's been a trend where they take cakes instead of having cakes, have coke, and you can have different flavors. And like, hey, I want this. But she is an
Yeah.
artist with it's Flowers by Design by G or by Yi actually, but we call her G. She's Latina. Um, so there, I mean, you look at them and it's like, dude, I would jump off a bridge if I had to do that kind of minute. Don't I can do this and I can sit there and I don't know if you recall one time I did a video with a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Carla, and first time I did the video And she, most people are like, man, he's kind of like a dictator and everything. And then after I gave it to her, she's like, oh, okay, now I see why you were such a dictator. And then the next time I tried to chill
Not the way you
out,
want
and well, then I chilled out the next time, and then it didn't come out as well because
it. Right, exactly. It's
And
like,
she said,
listen,
oh, so I
we're
can see,
experienced at what we do.
yeah,
There's a reason why we ask you. It's like, listen, if I'm asking you to do something, just
yeah,
okay. I'm gonna try to be as nice as I can, but
yeah.
I need you to do that, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she
Okay.
was real good about it. She was real good about it. I think it wasn't her complaining. I think it was more everybody else like, why are you doing it? Why do we got to do this 3 times? Because you didn't do it right the first time. He goes from nice Dave to director Dave, and it's like, hey, let me see here.
It's like, all right, guys, let's
Okay.
action. No.
Yes. Okay. And scene.
Good.
Okay. Well, cool. All right. So again, if you if you're in the Kissimmee area, I mean, how far do you travel for or if you go out of, on a distance, can people pay to have you come?
Yes, people can pay to have me come, no problem. I've only had the opportunity to do well. I've actually had to travel about 2 hours out to go. I haven't been out of state yet, but hey, I'm still relatively young.
Well, and that's what
But,
I put on my on the free giveaway. So for whoever's watching, if you ever see this, September 1st is going to be our deadline for our entries for the giveaway. And if it's outside the state of Florida, they'll have to pay for 2 photographers to travel. And quite honestly, probably the round trip tickets or the bus tickets or whatever they might be for 2 photographers, or even the gas, we'll probably make if it's not too far, we'll make it kind of a photo trip. But the price for that compared to what you pay for a photographer, because some of them that start at $1,200, like you say, can be $1,200 for one photographer, much less 2. So anyway.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And like you said, well, cool. So thank you, DJ Astro Boy. And again, we might get to hear from some more of your friends there. I think you said you knew some individuals who are in the industry, and they may shed some light on this. So, thank you so much. We look forward to literally hearing from you more and more as we move along. And again, if you ever want to come bounce in with us, let us know. So
definitely, just let me know. I'll be there.
But I do need to remind you of one thing. I've reminded everybody. It says, don't forget to challenge yourself to become a better photographer every day. So,
or a better DJ, or
word.
Hey, whatever you do, be better the next day than you were yesterday. Yep.
And exactly. Well, thank you so much. You have a great evening. And for anybody who's looking to have a free wedding shoot, go ahead, become a subscriber. Give us a TikTok. Just mention it down in the descriptions below, and we will enter you and see if your name gets pulled for the most compelling reason to give you a free wedding shoot. And you have a great evening. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right, guys.
Bye.